Good evening from Southeast Asia. Ain't talking about aliens tonight. Well, maybe I am. Here's the question. I've delayed this for a while, week or two or three, to try to simmer down my, not anger, it's rage. It's rage. Trying to mitigate it, calm it down. Wish I had some meds, I'd take them. Subject tonight is the IRS. And the question is, will the IRS steal your money? Not just screw you over, make life difficult for you. Not like that. I mean, we all know that happens because they like it. It's fun for them. But I mean, will they actually steal your money? Just as if they came into your home, put your piggy bank under their arm, and ran out in the middle of the night. Are they that blatant? Will they actually do that? Well, for the people who've been around and who have interacted with them, they know the answer to that question. I didn't know the answer to that question, not conclusively, until just recently. Now I know the answer, and I'm going to tell you what the answer is. COVID came along, and somebody, I don't know, decided we needed some extra money. So they sent us COVID payments, okay? First one coming to me was, I forgot, either $1,600 or $1,800, I forgot. One or the other. I did receive it. I received it exactly, almost to the day, 1 year late. Why? Because the government and the IRS was doing these payments. The IRS had my banking information. They had my account numbers, but they decided to mail a paper check. Why was it 1 year late? Because they sent it to some address in, wait for it, not in the U.S., in Malaysia. They sent my first COVID payment to Malaysia. Had my name on it. Had some other bogus weirdo address that I never saw before. Malaysia. That's okay. So it bumped around Southeast Asia for, a year, almost right to the day, within a couple of days of a year. When it finally did show up, it had not been opened, amazingly. The check was still inside, intact, but it was all water stained and screwed up. Parts of it were faded, parts of it were blurred. And I thought, oh, what the heck? Let's just run it through the online check depositor thing for my bank. It's never going to work. But it did. I guess you can have your 5-year-old take a crayon and write a check, from Joe Biden to you and run it through that app for your bank. I guess they'll cash it. I don't know. They cash this thing. It was a horrible looking thing. I got a picture of it somewhere. Horrible looking thing. Looked like goats have been peeing on it for a year. Probably they have. It stunk also. Okay, anyway. Got the money. $1,600, $1,800, whatever the hell it was, I got it. Okay. There were 2 other payments. One of them was about $1,200. I think that came from Mr. Magoo. Biden. Mr. Magoo. The other one, I believe, was $1,400. I did receive that one. More or less on time. It was like a month or 2 late, But that's as good as it gets with our government in the USA. Okay, so you got 3 checks total, $1,600 or $1,800, $1,200, and $1,400. Okay, I did not get the $1,200 ever. Never got it. Just never got it. I got a letter saying it was coming, but never got the check. And I just blew it off because you'll find out why in a minute. I got the check for the $1,600 or $1,800, and I deposited it. And when it was time to do the taxes, I declared that as income as a COVID payment. Now it's non-taxable. Supposedly, it's a non-taxable income. Okay? You don't have to ever pay it back. It's non-taxable income. It's a gift. Okay. 6 months after I filed that return, I got a letter from the IRS saying, hey, you know that COVID payment you got, you got to give that back. And by this time they had added, it was about $100 in fees and interest and penalties and whatever the hell. You know how they do it. Have you ever dealt with them? You know what they do, okay? I wrote back to him immediately and said, no, this is a COVID payment. And I included a copy and paste of their own text saying it was non-taxable. And I don't have to pay it back. And they screwed around with that. It went registered mail, so I knew they had it, And they screwed around with that for 6 months, I think. Didn't do anything. And then without any commentary or explanation or anything, they simply sent me the bill again for it, this time with a bunch of new penalties and late fees tacked onto it. So now it's way up there. It's $2,000, whatever. I was really, really busy with my life at the time. Really, really busy. Traveling around the world, doing this, doing that. And I always intended to take him to task on that. But I didn't. I paid it to stop the late fees and the penalties. And then I figured, okay, pretty soon, as soon as I get time, I'm going to register it's a formal complaint. They had not responded to my first complaint, so now it was time to ramp it up and file a court date, go to court, make them explain why I had to give back this COVID payment, because they wouldn't explain it otherwise. Okay, so I didn't get around to that. I planned to. I didn't. I let it go. Just let it go. Okay. Now, sometime later, I got one for $1,400. They couldn't figure out how to deposit that to my account either, so they mailed the check. Got the check. Cashed the check. Put it in the bank. Tax time came around. I declared it. COVID payment. There's actually a space in TurboTax or whatever the hell I was using that year. There was a space for, did you receive any COVID payments? Yes, I did. I received $1,400. Okay, yada, yada. 6 months later, another letter from the IRS. You got to pay that back. And I said, no, I'm calling bullshit on you this time. I paid it back the first time, even though I didn't know it. Paid it back the first time because I didn't want to deal with you. I'm afraid of my temper. I'm afraid of my level of anger and disgust with you leeching fucking pieces of shit. I'm scared of myself because I've had enough. So I paid it back last time. This time, no, game on. No. I'm not going to pay it back. Let's go to war. Let's go to fucking war, you fucking pieces of shit. So I detailed out all the documentation I had on that thing, sent it in to him, said this is I'm formally contesting this. You know how this is going to go. You already know. If you dealt with the IRS, you already know how this is going to go. About 6 months later, I got a letter in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. Hola. That's it. I got a two-page letter in Spanish from the IRS saying, well, we're looking at this. We're considering it. I had to translate it. We're looking at this and we're considering your case. And, just hang on and save this letter. And once we figured it out, we'll get back to you. Okay, whatever. This is not going to go well. I mean, it's going to. Okay. So 2 months later, got a letter from the IRS, and I figured, okay, this is they've adjudicated this case. They have some kind of an answer. You know, they're going to say, no, you don't owe this, or you know, maybe if they're really got some moral fiber, they're going to say, no, you don't owe this, and here's a check for the first one that you paid and that you didn't owe also, and we're really sorry. You know, I mean that would be how it. Yeah, right. Okay, so it was another letter in Spanish, same thing as before, just new dates on it, saying, well, you know, we're taking a look at it. We're working really, really hard to figure this out. In Spanish, 2 pages in Spanish. Where do they get the Spanish shit? From Scotland, for God's sake. Okay, so I figured, okay, whatever. 2 months later, another one. 2 months later, another one. Every 2 months for a year and a half, I think, something like that. I got one of these cockamamie letters, and I just let it roll on. You know, you save them all. You say, okay, well, you know, who knows? Maybe they're going to do the right thing. No, that'd be no, they're not going to do the right thing. No, that's just stupid. That's naive bullshit, idiot. They don't do the right thing. It's not in them. It's not in their genetic makeup to do the right thing. They're in that job because they like to fuck people over. That's why they applied there. Now, year and a half or whatever, I've got a whole collection of these letters, 6 or 8 or I don't know, maybe 10 of them, I don't know. And I finally got another one recently. Figured, okay. And then about 2 weeks later, I got another one, and it was a demand to pay $1,600, which included the payback of the $1,400 COVID payment plus fees and penalties and bullshit and the usual IRS bullshit. That's what they do. They're scammers. They're con artists. They're pieces of shit. That's what they are. To a man, to a woman. I have actually, on another deal, on an investigative thing, I worked for the feds a long time ago, law enforcement, and I ended up doing an impromptu tour of one of their cube farms. Can't remember where the hell it was. And what I saw and experienced in there was, I can't, well, I could describe it. I can't online because this will end up on YouTube and some other places, and I can't speak the truth about what made up those cubicles. The mentality of the, I don't know if I can call them people, the mentality of the entities working in those cubicles. Okay, so here we are. The 16 or the 1800 was paid back long before, years before, whatever. Now I got to pay back the 1400, which has magically morphed into 1600 and some change. There was no explanation as to their logic of why this had to be paid back. There had not been on the other one either. No, it's just nothing, not one line, not one sentence. Just here's the bill, pay it, or we're going to grab your bank accounts. That's it. So what do? If you try to fight them, if you formally file to take it to court and you lose, you know, it drags out for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you lose, and you will, you'll lose. You'll lose. You'll lose. Period. It's the IRS. You will lose. So you've dragged it out now for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and then you lose, and they've got a new judgment against you, except this time it's humongous. This time you got interest for all that time, you got new penalties, you got new back this, you got new bullshit other thing. And that could easily mushroom up to several $1,000. So what do you do? Now, I know what some of you are thinking. There's way too many people who have been through this, and way too many people are going to go through this again until the IRS is disbanded. Ron DeSantis said they're evil. He would disband them himself. They're evil. That was the word he used, and that's absolutely correct. That's the word that fits. Oh, yes, they're incompetent, and they're crooked, and they're every other adjective you can think of that's negative. They are those things. But in the end, also, bottom line is they are evil. They enjoy their jobs. They enjoy fucking you over. They like it. They giggle and they laugh. And they have little parties when they have done one that is particularly bad for you. They love it. They do. They love it. These are bad people. These are so bad, they're down there laying in the sewage right next to the pedophiles. Right next to the murdering pedophiles. They're right next to them. Now, could you ever, the only communication you're ever going to have is, they never sign their name to anything because they're cowardly, evil pieces of shit also. But they have to include an agent's number. Could you ever get them in court and get that agent's name released? It's been done before, but mostly kind of accidentally. I'd like to see the name of the agent on both of these cases. I'd like to see the name. I'd like to go talk to their neighbors. See what their neighbors think of them. Do a whole website on them. Mm-hmm. And that would be a start. Okay, so I paid the $1,400, or well, now it's $1,600 and some change. Paid it. And now the penalties cannot increase and the interest cannot increase. So now we go to court. And I'll lose. I'm going to lose. But what I believe will happen is the court will extract from them an explanation of why they did this. And it ought to be a doozy. It's going to be rambling, twisted bullshit, of course, that makes no sense. But there will be no way to untangle it. It will be a 50-gallon drum full of cooked spaghetti, and you'll never get to the end of the strand. Ever. But what you can do is you can take that illogical, twisted, garbled, insane, illogical piece of fucking shit of an explanation. You can make it very, very public. And you can't embarrass them because they're immune to it. They don't know the meaning of that word. You can't embarrass them for stealing. You can't embarrass them for lying to get out of it. You can't embarrass them. It can't be done. They don't care. Moral fiber is not contained in their soul. They don't have it. They're pieces of shit to a man, to a woman. If they see an opportunity to steal some money, especially from someone they think is an easy mark, they just do it. They just do it without a second's thought. They know they're immune to anything. If they do happen to lose in court, the agents don't lose anything. I doubt they even get a reprimand. They probably get some perks for having tried to steal the money. Now, anybody out there who has had any dealings with the IRS at all knows this is all true. Plus, a hell of a lot more. This is barely scratching the surface. This just happens to be my particular tiny story. And this is my particular tiny rant. And it's going to get bigger. You ever eat whale blubber? Don't. I have. Sucks. I'm not talking about the taste necessarily, but that sucks also. But what happens is they give you a little hunk of it. The Eskimos give you a little hunk of it. A little hunk of it, yeah, about the size of a piece of bubble gum, you know. And it looks nasty. It's whitish and oily, and you know, you think, well, you know, they've been living on it for eons. You know, one bite's not going to kill you. So you pop that puppy in your mouth and you commence to chewing. And you chew. And you chew. And you chew until your jaw is tired. And you're trying to reduce that thing down to the point where you can swallow it. I don't care how long you chew, that ain't going to happen. It only gets bigger. Okay, I am the whale blubber that the IRS is going to chew on. No, it's not going to kill him. Can't kill him. Can't stop him. Can't defund him. But maybe, possibly, you can make one of them somewhere regret having popped that little lump of blubber into their mouth. Maybe. Probably not. Maybe. What am I going to lose if I try? Nothing. My taxes and my finances are sparkly clean. There's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can make up. Come at me, motherfuckers. See what you got. We'll make it all public. And sooner or later, I'd say the chance is fair to middling through all the court records. Some document somewhere is going to slip up. And there's going to be an agent's name in there. Betcha. People who take on the IRS lose. I will lose. I'll never get that money back. It's gone. They stole it. As surely as they slipped their little tentacle into my pocket and took it out. Well, that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. If you got to deal with the IRS, God help you. Now, I left America long time ago. Not due to problems with the IRS. I only had one other problem with the IRS in my entire life. I had a maritime rescue business saving lives. We did 321 rescues, saved the Coast Guard twice. We had a rescue tug, barges, a bunch of other support craft, stuff like that. Airplane. We did it for hire, for profit. And we were good. And they shut it down one day. Why? Why would they do that? There was discrepancy. They claimed that I owed them, I don't remember the exact change. It was a little over $6. It was $6.10 or $6.19, $6.19, something like that. It was some little clerical thing. We had missed a checkbox on a form. We were on some kind of a scheme / scam. We had to do a bunch of business reporting weekly. And one week we somehow didn't pay $6. And they jerked our, they didn't do it. They didn't have authority to do it, but they caused the state to jerk our license to operate. So for about 10 days, I sent them the $6 immediately. But it took about 10 days for it to go through the sewer lines and get to the point where they could swallow that little turd, So during that time, no, I was going to say during that time we were shut down. No, we weren't. We stayed shut down for about a week, and then we told them go fuck themselves. We're going back to work. People drowning out there, and you're not going to stop us. Shoot us. You can shoot us. We're going back to work, and we did. We defied the order to stop business. We just went back to work, and nobody stopped us, and there was no penalty. But that was the only other IRS interaction I ever had in my life. I had dozens of small businesses, itemized returns for decades and decades on all these small businesses. Never had the slightest problem. Only this COVID bullshit thing. They saw some opportunity. They thought they could get away with it. Well, they have. They have, haven't they? So far they have. And they will continue to get away with it in terms of keeping my money that they stole. But maybe in some other ways, we can show them the error of their ways. Now, I'm just one tiny little guy. Lots and lots and lots of people have tried to do this. Most have failed. I got two things going for me. I don't like thieves. And I'm creative as hell. All right, motherfuckers, game on. You got your money. Shove it up your ass. Now it's my turn. Good evening and good night.